As welcome to our day 2, maths lesson, day 2. Now, if you can remember well, in our first lesson, we tried to convert percentages into fractions. And we say, for example, if you have a percentage like 20%, there's a way you can be able to convert this into a fraction. Now, 20% can be written as 20 over 100. This is simply 20%, and so after reaching there, you can be able to simplify by 21 by 25. So our number becomes 1 over 5. So 20% as a fraction is simply 1 over 5. Then from there, we also converted fractions into a percentage. Took a fraction like 2 over 4, and we can be able to convert this into a percentage. And we say simply when you're converting a fraction into a percentage, you simply multiply by 100%. So this gives you by 4, 1, by 4, 25. And this can give you 50%. So this is very important. The sign percentage is very, very important in that question. So that's how we convert fractions to percentages. And then lastly, what we did, it was that conversion of decimals into percentage. Decimals into percentage. And we say that decimal like 0.2 can be converted into a percentage. And we say there are two ways of doing that. Way number one, you can simply take 0.2, then you multiply that by 100%. When you want to change a decimal into a percentage, you simply multiply by 100%. And so, this will mean that when you're multiplying a percentage, a decimal with the zeros, the decimal place moves forward. So you just count the number of decimal places. We have one digit in this decimal, and so it means one decimal place. So that one decimal place will be cancelled by 1 0 to bring the decimal point at that point. So this you get just 20%. That's how you convert a decimal to percentage. That is method number one. Method number two, we say you can simply convert this 0.2 into a fraction. That means you get 0.2 and convert it to a fraction, meaning that you're going to write 2 and you check the value of this digit is tens. So this is 2 tenths. 2 tenths with th, meaning that this will be 2 out of 10. You can simply see that we have one decimal place, and so we need to write a number with 1 0 here. That number is 10. So this simply becomes 2 out of 10. Now from there, our fraction is 2 out of 10. Now, how do you convert fractions to percentage? By simply multiplying with 100%. So this will give you 0 cancels with 0. You remain with 2 times 10, which will give you 20%. So learners, that's where we left in the last lesson. So today, I want us to see how we can convert percentages to decimals. Conversion of percentages to decimals. Very fast, you can be able to see that. Convert to decimals. Conversion of percentages to decimals. So we can pick n percentage, just what you are doing. You can say 20%. How do you convert 20% into a decimal? You simply write this in the other form. 20% means 20 out of 100. That is what it means. 20% simply means 20 out of 100 in the other version. So when you reach there, you just done, because you check the number of zeros here in the denominator. There are 2, meaning that our decimal point, just want to remind you that the decimal point of our whole number is at the last digit. For example, if we have 2, the decimal point is here. So 2 can be written as 2.0. as you can see, 2.0. So the decimal point is here. So if we have 20, meaning that the decimal point is here, but we don't write it because there's no other number on this side. There's no other digit. So 20.0 and 20 is simply the same thing. So you need to know that our decimal point is at this end, where with zeros, there are two zeros. I said when you multiply with zeros, the decimal point moves to the right. But now when you're dividing with zeros, the decimal point moves to the left. So the decimal point will move this side, the number of zeros that we have here. So meaning that we have 1, 2 zeros. That simply means you get your decimal point from here, move it back 2 times, 1, 2. So 1 and 2, so it will land here. After it has landed there, you just put a 0 there. So this becomes 0.2. Simply becomes 0.2. We don't need to write this 0. This 0 is not important. This also can be written as, if you want to cancel first, you get 20 out of 100. Simplify this and this, you remain with 2 out of 10. Meaning that if it's 2 out of 10, the decimal point is there. So it will move the number of times that we have the zeros that we have here. So we have only 1 0, meaning that it will move only once. This means it will come there. So you place a 0 there. So this becomes 0.2. I hope you have seen why we have not included this 0, because this 0 cancelled with this one in this case. So if you don't want to cancel, you can simply move it from this end and remove it 2 times. So that's just one example. Alternatively, there is another way you can be able to do this. So this is 20 over 100, which is 20%. You want to convert it into a percentage, into a decimal. So you just get 20 out of 100. The denominator should be outside, 100 there, and the numerator inside there. But if you look at this question, 100 cannot get into 20. 100 is bigger than 20. So you need to add a 0 point there and you put a 0 there. So that this number will look bigger compared to this one. So how many times do 100 get into 200? So you'll find 2 times. You get 200. This way, when you subtract, you just get zeros. And so you write your answer as 0.2. So there are 2 ways you can be able to do this question and still get the answer. So whichever way you use, you still arrive to the answer. Let's take another example. That is just one of the examples I've given. Let's take another example like 30%. We want to change that percent into a decimal. This simply means 30% is just 30 out of 100. So way number 1, you can cancel this 0 and this 0 to remain with 3 over 10. Use my method that we have only 1 0 here and the decimal point is there. So the decimal point you move to the left 1 time because we have only 1 0. So move it once, it will arrive there, then you put a 0 there. This becomes 0.3. Alternatively, if you don't want to cancel, you still write that of 100 and say we have 2 zeros. So the decimal point of our whole number is always at the last digit, in the far end of the last digit. So it will move 1, 2 times. We don't count the 1, we only count the zeros. So it will move how many times? 1, 2 from here, backwards. 1, 2. So it will arrive there. So 0 point. Now 0.3, you realize that we have a 0 there. But this 0 is not important because it's to the side of our whole number and there's a decimal here. So you can write 0.3 as being your answer. Alternatively, way number 2, you can just decide to take 30 over 100 and use a long division. So the denominator outside, 100, and the numerator should be inside. But you will realize that 130, the number to be divided with here is supposed to be bigger. So this is 100, this is 30. So 100 cannot get into 30. You put a 0 point and add a 0 there. Meaning that you ask yourself, how many times do 100 get into 300? You'll realize it's 3 times. You get 3 and you subtract, you get 0, 0. So our answer will be 0.3. 0.3. Let's take a third example. let's check a third example. You can have a question just like 15%. 15%. Change 15% into a decimal. This simply will be written as 15 out of 100, meaning that is what we have there. So how many zeros? 1, 2. The decimal point is there. To move backward, how many times? 1, 2. 1 and then 2. To land there, you put a 0 there. This becomes 0.15. 0.15. And let's realize that at the decimal point, we mention each number alone. We don't say 0.15. That is wrong. We say 0.1524, whatever. But you can't say 0.15. It's wrong. So if you the second way of doing it, you just get 15 out of 100, and the denominator always is outside. The numerator is supposed to be inside. As you can see, 100 is bigger than 15. You get 100. Then you subtract, you get 0, then 5. You continue adding a 0 here. Add a 0. How many times will 100 get into 500? 5 times. You get 500. And you get 0 there. So your answer is supposed to be 0.15. 0.15. In case, after getting your answer here 50, after getting your 50 after subtraction, when you add a 0 here and you realize that this number is still bigger than this, you add a 0 above before you add another 0 here, and it will definitely divide what you are supposed to divide. So Lana, that's how we can be able to convert a percentage into a decimal. Let's pick the last example. Let's pick the last example in that. And the last example will be like, for example, if we have 14%, we want to convert this into a decimal. This simply means 14 out of 100. 14 out of 100. What does that mean? We have 1, 2 decimals. The decimal point is always there in our whole number. So we move it backward 1, 2 times. 1 and then 2 to land there. Put a 0 there. This will give you 0.14. 0.14 as your answer. The method number 2 is 14 over 100. You pick 100 to be there and 14 is here. How many times? 0 point. You put a 0 there because 14 is smaller compared to 100. So one time you get 100. You remain with 0 and then 4. You put a 0 there. You realize that 100 gets into 400 4 times. 100 times 4, you get 400. Subtract there, you get a 0. So your answer is 0.14. So learners, I think you've understood how to be able to change a percentage into a decimal. That's exactly what we usually do. That is what we usually do. So it's just simple. Write this percentage in the other fashion, that is 14 over 100. From there, you can be able to simplify. But it's always right if you divide with the zeros, instead of simplifying and saying by 27 by 250. You'll get something like 7 over 50, and 7 over 50 is not easy to divide. But if you look at 14 over 100, it's very easy because you're just dividing with zeros. So Lana, I encourage you, when you get a question that is over a number with zeros only, there's no other bigger number, then you always do this kind of division to save on time, and you'll be able to get it very, very correct. But again, you must be able to know when is the decimal point moving forward and when is the decimal point moving backward. That is very, very important. So it moves forward when multiplying and moves backward on division. Just get that very clear. The decimal point moves forward on multiplication and moves backwards when you are dividing. So that is as far as conversion of percentages to decimals is concerned. Now I want to touch on the last part that I wanted to do, and I'll do something we call percentage increase. Then in our next lesson, of course, we shall do percentage decrease. Now, what is percentage increase? We know that what percentage is, but just to explain what an increase is, meaning that you get an original number and you increase it by a certain percentage. That is what we mean by percentage increase. Like for example, you can be told increase 240 shillings by 10%. Increase 240 shillings by 10%. What does that mean? Now in this case, Lana, we need to identify the original number because at the end of the day we shall get another number which was not the original number. So getting the original number is what is very important. It can be an original number, amount, quantity, or anything that will be given as the original. It can be an original number, quantity, amount, all that. So this is very, very important. After you identify this is when you can be able to increase this into percentage. Now in our case here, our original is an amount. So our original number, I mean in terms of money, is 240 shillings. Lana, be able to capture this well because it's very, very important and it's a question that comes in an exam, even in percentage. Now, this original number or amount is represented by 100%. All things are always 100% before you can be given a discount or something like that. Like for example, when you go to the shops, the boutique, you find a shirt tagged at 850 shillings. This shirt tagged at 850 shillings, that is the buying price. So this is the market price. So the market price will be equal to 100%. If the seller decides to give you a 10% discount, that means your buying price will be 100% minus 10%. You must subtract 10% from the original price for you to know how you have bought that shirt at what amount. So we are saying this is the original amount, which is always 100%. Now we are told increase that by 10%. Increase means a plus. Increase before you are given a discount. So for you to know the buying price will be equal to 100% minus 10%. That's the amount that we'll have bought that shirt at. So what are we saying? That 204 shillings was the original amount. Now we are told to increase this amount by 10%. So 204 shillings is equivalent to 100%. Meaning that increase you plus, you add something. So we are going to add 10% here to this, so that this amount can increase by 10%. And what will be the next percentage? Now our new percentage will be 100 plus 10, which is 110%. Lana, you have seen that we have moved from 100 to 110%. So definitely you don't expect this amount to go to go down. It is going to increase. So you ask yourself, if 240 shillings is 100%, what about 110 shillings? How much is that? So you put a question mark there. So you pick this number, the lower number, 110% multiply by 250. So we multiply like this, plus multiply. And 110 times 240 shillings over this 100%. You realize that percent will cancel with percent. You remain with shillings here. So our units are going to be shillings. This will cancel with this one. A 0 will cancel with this one. So you remain with 11 times 24. So let's multiply here. 24 times 11. That will give you 4. Give you 2. 4 and then 2. This will give you 4, 6, 2. But what are the units? Shillings. So our new amount will be equal to 264 shillings. Our new amount is 264 shillings. It has moved from 240 to 264, meaning that it has increased in amount. So that's just one example I've just given. Let's look at another example. Let's look at another example where, for example, you can be told that in January 2018, Peter planted 50. On February the same year, he increased the number of seedlings by 20%. How many seedlings were planted on February? Now, this is a very simple question if we understand it. That in January 2018, Peter planted 53 seedlings. On February the same year, he increased the number of seedlings by 20%. How many seedlings were planted on February? Now, for us to be able to calculate this question, we need to break this question into workable statements, meaning that January. So this will be, so January, just say January 50 seedlings. And then February increased by 20%. So these are small statements that can be worked out. So you just come here and be able to do something. So we must get the original number of seedlings. So we have 50 being the original number. And this 50 is if it's the original number, means that this is equivalent to 100%. We are told this number of seedlings were increased by 20%. So in our percentage here, we increase this by 20%, meaning that the new number of seedlings will be 100 plus 20, which is 120%. We ask ourselves, if 50 seedlings is equivalent to 100%, what about 120% is how many seedlings? So very simple. So we get 120% times 50 seedlings over 100%. A percent will cancel percent, will remain with unit. The only units remaining are seedlings. So this one and this will cancel, then this and this will cancel. You remain with 12 times 5. 12 times 5 is simply 60. So the new number of seedlings will be equal to 60. 3 seedlings. And you get your answer there clear. So that's how we'll be able to do percentage increase learners. So when given questions, number one, you need to identify the original amount, the original price, the original quantity of the items you are given, and that will give you the original percentage, which is 100%. After getting that, you can now find the new percentage by increasing the original percentage by the percentage that you have given, and you still get your answer and get it right. So that's how we'll be able to do that question. So any question on percentage increase, you need to increase the percentage by the one that you're given there. So learners, that marks at the end of our lesson today. And in our lesson, as we did, you realize that our first subtopic was how to convert percentage into decimals, which we did and we captured so well. The second subtopic for today was percentage increase, and we have seen how we have been able to increase a certain quantity by a percentage, and we're getting a new quantity. So this is very, very important. So in your new primary mathematics, you will find questions on percentage increase and how to convert percentage into decimals. Kindly attempt a few questions and see whether you can be able to work them out and work them out well. So until next time, may God bless you.